There's a currency you've been spending your entire life carelessly. You offer it to people who dislike you. You give it to situations that drain you. You hand it over to a world that's designed to consume you. That currency is your attention. And because you give it away so freely, it has no value. This is the cruel economic law of social dynamics. If you're constantly available, you're worth nothing. If you're always reacting, you are powerless. Machiavelli understood this in the courts of Florence. He saw that the most powerful men weren't the ones screaming for authority. They were the ones who could look at a catastrophe, gaze at an enemy, and offer them nothing but quiet. They understood the art of ignoring. Now, this isn't about being petty. This isn't about the silent treatment, which is just a childish game of emotional manipulation. This is about strategic elimination. It's about the ability to stare down a person trying to destroy you and render them invisible. You are here because you are tired? You're tired of the drama. You're tired of feeling like a puppet on strings that other people are pulling. You react to their insults. You explain yourself to their doubts. You fight conflicts that were traps from the very beginning. You want to stop. You want to recapture the throne of your own mind. I'm going to show you how. We are going to analyze the dark psychology of strategic apathy. We're going to explore how withdrawing your attention can break the ego of a narcissist, make a lover infatuated, and transform an enemy into a ghost. By the end of this video, you will hold a weapon that makes you dangerous, the ability to be physically present but energetically absent. You will learn how to create a vacuum that terrifies people because it forces them to sit alone with their own insecurity. If you're ready to master this power, make sure you're subscribed and let's begin. But be cautious, this route is frigid. To ignore effectively, you must destroy the part of you that seeks validation. You must be willing to be called arrogant. You must be willing to be misunderstood. The sheep gather together for warmth. The lion walks alone. Are you ready to walk away? Why do you ignore a beggar but pay attention to a king? It is not just about money, it is about access. The beggar is imposed upon you. He is in your face. He is demanding. He is abundant. The king is behind a wall. He is rare. You have to earn the privilege to see him. Machiavelli wrote, "Familiarity breeds contempt. This is the foundational law of human nature. The more people see of you, the less they admire you. The more you speak, the more common you appear. The more you explain yourself, the more you look like a subordinate. You have been violating this legislation. You think that by being present and helpful and constantly there, you are establishing loyalty. You are not. You are building entitlement. You are training people to treat you as a utility, like running water or electricity. They only notice you when you quit working. To restore your power, you must generate scarcity. You must understand that ignoring is not an act of aggression. It is an act of price correction. You are boosting the price of your access. When someone disrespects you and you argue with them, you are telling them your opinion matters enough to upset me. You are validating their importance. You are subsidizing their ego with your energy. But when you ignore them, when you gaze through them as if they are made of glass, you destroy them. You are telling them, you do not exist in my reality. This triggers a primitive panic in the human brain. We are sociable animals. To be ignored by the tribe was a death sentence in ancient times. When you strategically withdraw your attention, you provoke that old fear. You force them to rethink their own worth. Why isn't he reacting? Did he hear me? Does he not care? Now the dynamic has flipped. They are chasing you. They are trying to get a reaction. They are bidding for your attention. And the longer you withhold it, the greater the price goes. Start today. Identify the energy vampires in your life, the ones who thrive on your reaction. Stop feeding them. When they provoke you, give them nothing. No rage, no annoyance, just a blank stare. And then turn back to your task. Treat their words like background noise. Treat their presence like a mild breeze, something you perceive but do not modify your course for. You will see them swirl. You will see them try harder, and eventually you will see them break because no one can fight a ghost. And that is what you are becoming, a ghost in their machine. Robert Greene, in The Four Laws of Power, codified this exactly in Law 36, disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best retribution, but we are going deeper than revenge. We are talking about reality creation. When you fight a minor enemy, you make him enormous. When you argue with a stupid person, you become a fool. Imagine an emperor walking through a market. A peasant tosses a rock at him. If the emperor stops, yells, and throws a rock back, he has lowered himself. He has told the world, "This peasant is my equal. He has the power to disrupt my frame of mind." But if the emperor keeps walking, if he doesn't even flinch, if he continues his conversation with his general as if the rock never happened, the peasant ceases to be a threat. He becomes a malfunctioning object, a nuisance, nothing more. This is the psychological state you must reach: strategic disdain. It is the ability to regard the petty insults, the gossip, and the disrespect of others not as attacks, but as mistakes in the environment. You do not get furious at a bird for chirping. You do not become furious at a dog for barking. It is their nature. Why do you become furious at a toxic person for being toxic? It is their nature. Ignoring them is the ultimate display of status. Machiavelli argues that a prince must maintain his majesty. He cannot be seen grappling in the mud. When you choose to ignore, you are structuring the interaction. You are the protagonist. They are the extras. If you engage, you give them a speaking role in the movie of your life. Why would you give a speaking part to someone who hates you? Cut their lines. This requires a transformation in your internal monologue. When someone tries to bait you, instead of thinking, "How dare they say that?" think, "How sad that they need my attention this much." Do you sense the difference? One is defensive, the other is superior. One is the victim, the other is the judge. You must stare at them with a mild, detached curiosity, like a scientist staring at a rat in a maze. Oh, look, the subject is trying to get a reaction again. Fascinating, and then you look aside. This glance, this cold, analytical, unbothered gaze, is more hurtful than any insult you could scream because it denies them their humanity. It reduces them to a mechanism, and people would do anything to prove they are real, but you will not let them. You will keep walking, you will keep building, you will keep climbing. Let them fling rocks at the sky. The sky does not care. Comment this underneath to lock in the mindset. I am the sky. They are the noise. They are. Now we enter the area of behavioral psychology. How do you make someone addicted to you? How do you make them obsessed? You do not do it by giving them everything they desire. You do that by offering them nothing, then something, then nothing again. This is the principle of the slot machine. If you pulled the lever and won every time, you would get bored. If you pulled the lever and never won, you would quit. But because you win occasionally and you never know whether you keep tugging, you are trapped in the loop. Ignoring is nothing. When you are always available, you are a vending machine, predictable, boring. When you start neglecting people, not out of malice but out of focus, you become a slot machine. Let's imagine you are in a negotiation or a complex relationship dynamic. If you answer every text promptly, you are signaling low value. You are signaling that you are sitting by the phone waiting to be summoned. But what happens when you go dark? What happens when you disappear for 6 hours or 2 days? The other person's mind begins to rush. They create stories. Is he angry? Is he with someone else? Is he busy constructing an empire? They fill the silence with your power. Machiavelli knew that men are driven by two basic urges. Either by love or by dread. Silence creates both. They fear losing you, and that fear reignites their love to secure you. You must learn to be comfortable with the suction. Most individuals perceive a lull in the conversation and they panic. They babble. They fill the air with nervous words because they are terrified of the judgment of the silence. The outlier loves the silence. The outlier sits in the silence and watches the other person squirm. When you pose a question and they give a half answer, do not speak. Look at them. Wait, ignore the temptation to save them. In that silence, the truth will come out. In that quiet, they will negotiate against themselves. This applies to your absence as well. If you are always at every party, every meeting, every event, your presence is diluted. Start saying no. Start skipping events without a detailed excuse. I can't make it. That's it. No apology, no elaborate fib. Just know, then when you do show up, it matters. You have contrasted. The light is only valuable because of the dark. Your presence is only valuable because of your absence. Use ignoring as a reset button. When a connection, economic or personal, becomes disrespectful, withdraw. Do not argue. Do not try to talk it out with someone irrational. Withdraw. The loss of your attention is a shock to the system. It forces them to recalibrate. It forces them to realize that access to you is a privilege, not a right. And if they don't notice it, if they don't chase, then you have your answer. They never valued you. You were only a convenience, and now you are free. There is a concept in psychology called gray rocking. It is usually taught to victims of abuse. The advice is to become as bland and unreactive as a gray rock so the abuser loses interest. But we are going to weaponize this. We are not using this to hide. We are utilizing this to starve. There are people in your life, narcissists, drama queens, Machiavellian manipulators who feed on your life force. They need your emotional output to feed their own twisted world. They utter shocking things to see your eyes expand. They create emergencies to see you run. When you disregard their hook, you starve them. But genuine ignoring is inside. You can look at someone and nod, but mentally you are in a different world. You give them the generic minimum? Wow, that's crazy. Interesting. You offer no fuel. You offer no hooks for them to grab onto. You become a smooth surface. Machiavelli recommends that a prince should keep his own counsel. He should not be a leaky vessel. When you practice the offensive gray rock, you are protecting your inner sanctum. Imagine your mind as a castle. Most folks leave the drawbridge down. Anyone can stroll in with muddy boots, their troubles, their complaints, their toxicity, and dirty your flooring. Ignoring is hauling up the drawbridge. They can stand on the other side of the moat and scream. They can wave their arms, but they cannot get in. This drives manipulative people insane. They will crank up their behavior. They will try to make you feel guilty. You've changed. You're so far? You think you're better than everyone? Recognize these for what they are, extinction bursts. In psychology, an extinction burst is the abrupt rise in behavior before it dies down. Like a toddler screaming louder right before they finally give up and go to sleep. When they accuse you of being frigid, do not defend yourself. Do not say, "I'm not cold. I'm just busy." That is defense. That is a weakness. Ignore the charge. Or if you must talk, agree with it. I've been pretty concentrated lately. End of sentence. You do not apologize for your focus. You do not apologize for your boundaries. You must recognize that you are retraining the world on how to treat you. And training is a process of reward and punishment. Your attention is the reward, your ignoring is the punishment. If they act like adults, they catch your attention. If they act like children, they get the void. It is simple, it is ruthless, and it works. But there is a danger here, a trap that many fall into. They ignore superficially, but internally they are obsessed. They check the person's social media. They reread the old writings. They ask friends about them. This is fake ignoring. This is acting. And people can smell acting. True ignoring demands the death of curiosity. You must reach a point where you actually do not care what they are doing. How do you achieve this? By having a mission that is bigger than their drama. Machiavelli wrote his greatest works in exile. He was ignored by the courts he wished to serve. He could have spent his days crying, writing angry letters, pleading for attention. Instead, he turned his back on the present and gazed at history. He focused on his task. He developed a legacy that outlasted the princes who ignored him. You must do the same. You cannot ignore the noise if you have nothing else to listen to. You need a signal. You need a purpose. When you are obsessed with your own expansion, ignoring others becomes easier. It is not a strategy, it is a side effect of your attention. You do and have time to argue with the detractors because you are too busy building the fortress they will eventually try to enter. Focus is the ultimate form of ignoring. Focus is the razor that slices away the non-essential. Ask yourself right now, what are you tolerating? Who are you carrying? Drop the weight. You cannot ascend the mountain if you are carrying rocks in your backpack just because the rocks screamed at you to pick them up. Leave them on the ground. Walk. Machiavelli was a master of indirect warfare. He knew that if you confronted someone head-on, they would fight themselves. They will become martyrs. But if you ignore them, they often destroy themselves. This is the concept of passive incitement. When you ignore a rival, you provoke them into making a mistake. Let's look at a workplace atmosphere. You have a rival who is trying to undermine you. They make passive-aggressive statements in meetings. They strive to steal credit. If you fight them openly, you look like a troublemaker. You look emotional. Management sees two persons squabbling. But if you ignore them, if you smile at everyone else, but look right through them, if you answer everyone else's emails promptly, but take 3 days to reply to theirs, they will become paranoid. They will feel degraded. They will start to act out. They will raise their voice. They will make a sloppy move to force your attention. And when they do, the spotlight hits them. Everyone sees them as unhinged. Everyone sees them as aggressive, and they perceive you as the calm, competent, unbothered leader. You handed them the rope, and they hang themselves with it. This is the dark art of the non-reaction. By refusing to be an opponent, you force them to shadowbox. And shadowboxing looks stupid to the spectators. There is a great power in letting others be wrong about you. They want you to correct them. They want you to say, "No, I'm not like that." Let them relate their stories. Let them propagate their rumors. While others are chatting, you are working. Eventually, the distance between their lies and your reality will become so large that they will look mad. Your results are the only correction necessary. The lion does not walk into the village to inform the lambs that he is strong. He hunts and the village knows. Silence is the loudest roar. But this is only the surface. We have covered the economics, the social dynamics, and the offensive potential of ignoring. But there is a deeper level, a level that Machiavelli hinted at, but few dare to explore. What happens when you turn this power inward? What happens when you learn to ignore your own weakness, your own fear, your own longing for comfort? And most importantly, how do you handle the backlash? Because when you start ignoring the world will try to punish you. It will strive to disturb your silence. We are going to learn how to disappear entirely to be resurrected as something they fear. Prepare yourself. The air is getting thinner up here. When you finally cease feeding the beast, do not expect it to starve peacefully. It will scream. In behavioral psychology, an extinction burst is the abrupt, violent spike in behavior that comes right before a conditioned response expires. Think of a youngster throwing a tantrum in a supermarket. You say no to the chocolates. The youngster cries. If you ignore the crying, the youngster doesn't stop immediately. They shout louder, they throw themselves on the floor. They kick, they escalate. Why? Because in the past, escalation worked. They are testing your new boundaries. They are asking, is this real or is he just bluffing? When you start ignoring the toxic individuals, the manipulators, and the energy vampires in your life, they will enter an extinction burst. They will not just fade away, they will attack. They will spread tales about you. They will try to turn your friends against you. They will send long, angry texts accusing you of betrayal. They will try to bait you with guilt. After everything I did for you, you've changed? You're arrogant now. I guess I don't matter to you anymore. This is the critical moment. Most individuals fail here. They see the explosion and they panic. They think, oh no, I've made it worse. I need to change this. I need to explain. No, you have not made it worse. You have forced the virus to the surface. The extinction burst is not an indication of failure. It is a symbol of success. It means the parasite is dying. It means they are losing their grasp on you and they are panicking. If you answer now, if you apologize, if you explain, if you argue, you give them a deadly lesson. What happens when you do this? At first, people will be bewildered. Then they will be curious. Where did he go? Is he okay? Then they will fabricate rumors. Let them, but while they are speculating, you are evolving. In the dark, you can change without judgment. You can learn new skills. You can get in shape. You can build a business. You can rewrite your psychology. When you are continually in the light, you are trapped by people's expectations of you. Oh, he's the funny guy. He's the broke guy. He's the shy guy. When you disappear, you murder that version of yourself. And when you reemerge, you return as a stranger. You walk differently. You speak differently. You have results that no one saw coming. The impact of your return is multiplied by the duration of your absence. Imagine seeing a friend you haven't seen in 6 months. He appears crisper, he is wealthier, he is peaceful. You don't ask him, "Why didn't you text me back?" You ask him, "What have you been doing?" You have commanded respect via the sheer weight of your metamorphosis. You ignored the world to work on yourself. And now the world has to work to catch up to you. Do not be terrified of the solitude. The laboratory of the outlier is always lonely. That is where the alchemy happens. We have talked about ignoring others, but the toughest person to ignore is you. You have a voice in your head. It is the voice of your biology. It is the voice of your evolution. It wants you to be safe. It wants you to be liked. It wants you to be comfortable. It whispers to you when you are neglecting someone, "This is mean. You should text them. What if they hate you?" It whispers to you as you are working, "You're exhausted, just sleep. Do it tomorrow." This voice is a traitor. Machiavelli wrote about fortune, luck as a force that must be conquered. He believed a man must create dams and dikes to tame the chaotic torrent of fate. Your internal emotional state is that river. If you listen to every impulse, every worry, and every doubt, you will drown. You must learn to disregard your own weakness. This is the ultimate discipline. When you feel the need to check your ex's profile, ignore it. Treat it like a pop-up commercial in your thoughts. Close the window. When you feel the urge to explain yourself to an idiot, ignore it. Recognize it as an ego trap. When you feel the worry of missing out, ignore it. Recognize it as a manipulation of the matrix. You are not your thoughts. You are the spectator of your ideas. The instant you realize you can look at an emotion, acknowledge it, and then not act on it, you become dangerous. You become a machine of will. Most people are captives to their chemistry. They feel hungry. They eat. They feel horny. They consume porn. They feel lonely. They text a toxic person. They feel angry. They yell. They are biological robots. The outlier breaks the circuit. I feel lonely. Interesting. I will get back to work. I feel angry. Noted. I will use this energy to lift heavier. I feel the impulse to seek validation. Disgusting. I shall kill it with quiet. This is the internal application of the art of ignoring. You must become ruthless with your own thinking. You must cull the weak notions. You must starve the doubts. If a thought does not serve the mission, it does not get a seat at the table. Ignore the traitor. Listen to the general. When you master the ability to ignore externally and internally, you achieve a condition of being that is unique in this world. You become a mirror. A mirror does not judge. It does not react. It simply reflects reality for the observer. When an angry person screams at a mirror, the reflection does not scream back. It basically shows the angry person their own distorted face. When you stop reacting, you become that mirror for society. People will reflect their issues onto you. If they are insecure, they will call you arrogant. If they are needy, they will call you cold. If they are manipulative, they will call you difficult. You will see things clearly, perhaps for the first time, because you are no longer blinded by your own emotional reaction. You can see their machinery. You can see the strings. You will see that the insult wasn't about you. It was about their father. It was about their lack of money. It was about their fear of irrelevance. And because you see it, you may forgive it or you can destroy it. The choice is yours, but you are no longer a victim of it. You have reached the Machiavellian ideal. Veru, not moral virtue, but strategic prowess. The ability to stand in the chaos and remain undisturbed. You are the eye of the storm. The world spins, the people scream, the drama cycles. But you are still, you are concentrated, you are watching. And when you choose to move, you do not respond. You strike, you act with intention. You behave with precision. You have taken back the currency of your attention. You have stopped spending it on the undeserving. You have invested it in yourself, and the rewards on that investment are infinite. But be careful. Once you start down this path, there is no going back. Once you taste the power of silence, you will find it seductive. You will find that you have less tolerance for the noise of the typical world. You will lose friends. You will lose connections. You will lose the skin of your old life. This is necessary. You are entering a new level of the game. a level where words are scarce but meaning is deep. But as you become this ghost, this mirror, this force of nature, you will face a final temptation. The urge to use this ability to damage, to employ quiet, not just to protect yourself, but to torture others. To utilize absence not to build, but to destroy. This is the shadow side of the art, and it is a slippery slope. Machiavelli emphasized that a prince must be feared, but he must never be loathed. Hate is dangerous. Hate makes assassins. How do you tread the line between being unbothered and being cruel? How can you maintain your strength without becoming a monster? There's a special technique for this, a way to decline without disrespect, a technique to ignore without inciting violence. It is the art of the velvet wall, hard as stone but gentle to the touch. But that is a lesson for the few. That is a lesson for the architects. Because if I gave you that weapon now, you could cut yourself. You have enough to practice. Start with the silence. Start with the withdrawal. Start with the ghost protocol. Reclaim your mind. And if this opened your eyes, understand this is only what I can show publicly. There are videos I cannot upload for everyone. There are aspects of dark psychology that I just cannot discuss openly on YouTube without being blocked or demonetized. The algorithm suppresses the most powerful information. Those exist behind the join button. If you're still here, you're not like the rest. Subscribe if you haven't. But if you desire what's hidden, click the join button and enter the architect level. You will unlock exclusive, uncensored videos that dive into the deepest corners of the human psyche. Most won't, that's the point.